Welcome to the 24th episode of the Most Serious Podcast. In today's episode, I had the pleasure of talking to Col Pravinder Kumar, who is a retired Indian Army officer. He's also the founder of CCL. CCL is Colonel's Career Launcher. It is an institute located in Greater Noida, which is helping students not only get their education right on track, but also get the proper career counseling, the proper guidance, and also let them discover their holistic personality. Col Pravinder Kumar is an inquisitive and a very curious person. I think that's what makes him a good student and ultimately a better teacher. In this episode, we talk about his experiences, be it studying at prestigious institutes like NDA or the IMA, or the experiences that he had while serving in the armed forces. Col Pravinder has a very interesting viewpoint on life and he brings a new perspective to the table. We also talk about education in this episode. We talk about what has the modern education system got right and what it has got wrong. Col Pravinder also had some stories to share, be it from his childhood days or to the time he served in the armed forces. Some had me laughing very hard, but some gave me a new perspective on how I approach situations. Do give this episode a listen if you want to look inside the mind of a clear and a strategic thinker. I hope you like the conversation today. Let's get into the episode now. It's an absolute honor today to have Col Pravinder on the Most Serious Podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time out, sir. Welcome.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Now, I have great respect and admiration, as many people in this country do, for the people who served in the armed forces. And there's just this inspiration, this natural look up to nature that we have for people who serve in the army or in any of the forces that protect us from the outside world. Now, I was very curious that when we had you on the show, and we talked about this previously also, that as a kid, as a young teenager, I don't know, who were the people that you looked up to, or maybe what kind of life that you thought, okay, this excites me. This is something that I want my life to be about.
Okay. So while I was growing up, we lived in Meerut, and my college was in the city, and we used to stay slightly outside the city. So the route that I used to take to my school used to pass through the Meerut cantonment. And whenever I passed through the Meerut cantonment, I found it so neat and clean, and so those soldiers standing guard smartly. So that somehow got into my heart, and I started dreaming of joining NDA, and that's how my life got a direction.
So, like the kid who just went around Meerut and he saw the cleanliness of cantonment area. So that was what struck with you. That was something that
that was something very very organized, clean, organized, and the smartness of those guards and the soldiers. That was really fascinating. I found them really praiseworthy. So I thought I must join this elite force that is Indian Army.
And it's also like very true that you pointed out that the way that army operates or the way that they conduct themselves, be it from a soldier or to the top tier officer, I don't know, but they have a certain degree of I don't have the right word for it, but probably the way they conduct themselves is so disciplined, is so, when you look at it, you have admiration right away. So I think I can understand what you went through as a kid. So did this distill you, like you knew that the army life is difficult, and you must have known that it is a huge sacrifice to serve in these forces. So was that, did that fear ever made you think that, no, maybe I should take a safer route, get a job and do something like that?
Actually, initially, people don't know how much it takes to train for army, especially places like NDA. I had no idea. I only had the fascination of NDA. And then once we went into the training, and the first day our hair was cut short, and we were made to look like aliens, maybe, or so. Then it dawned on me that how difficult. But I've seen in life, whenever there is a difficulty in life, if you are in a team, you get through. If you are alone, sometimes some people may give up. But if you are in a team, in a group, no matter what punishment was given to us, it was all collective, mostly. So we will just laugh, joke with each other, kind of curse our seniors and officers. But in the bottom of our heart, we knew that we are training. And most of the time,
Mm.
when you're training in NDA and your seniors are putting you through hell, they'll keep telling you that we are toughening you up so that tomorrow you fall into enemy hands and they torture you, so you have a little bit of ground to stand on.
Mm.
So that always was there, and to become strong. So once you start improving actually physically and mentally, you start enjoying that. So we started running 4K kilometer, 5 kilometer. We ended up running 15 kilometers every day
Mm.
almost, 12
Wow.
kilometer, 13 kilometer almost every day. So that once you get into that groove, then you start enjoying it also. It comes as a achievement. कि आज मेरे को 30 minutes में हो गया, 35 minutes में हो
Mm.
गया. So you start getting into that, and that phase is very very challenging but very very enjoyable, and that what
Yeah.
brings the results, I think, finally in any scenario.
I think that's so true. Achievement drives the further action. I also believe this theory a lot. Now, the very one interesting fact that I want to tell the listeners, and I got to know it previously as I was talking to Col Pravinder, was that he was born on 5th of September, which is coincidentally the Teachers' Day as well. Now, I don't know if this is some magical destiny sort of thing, but you did end up into this field after all, and I think the universe was nudging you to get into this, help people out, help children sort their lives out, get them the right education in the right manner. So what's your take on this? Do you dwell on these things? Do you think about this was meant to be, or you do land up into the places that you are made for?
Okay. Okay, see, never thought about that. Sometimes it came to me. Initially, when I was a student, 10th, 11th, I topped my school in 10th.
Okay.
So one student came to me and he said, I want to take tuitions from you.
Mm.
So I gave him tuition. I remember he used to pay me 100 rupees that time. So that was around 88, 1986, 87,
Okay.
87, 1987. So I became a teacher. But there were no thoughts in my mind to become a teacher. I wanted to become an officer of Indian Army. And
Mm.
that's how it went. But then very early, since I was quite good in studies and used to generally top the school, so kids used to look up to me, and they used to keep saying, like, "Mama, he's the guy like who got that."
Okay.
I got a watch for coming first in the that time. Alarm clock was
Okay.
the prize, and alarm clock was a big thing that time for the kids.
Mm.
So they used to say that. So I had that those moments of kind of respect from people. But once I went to NDA, and once I got commissioned, after certain service, I went to some courses. I topped some of the courses, and then I was appointed as an instructor. Now in
Mm.
army, we don't call anyone teacher; we call instructor. Instructor are the people who give you training, who train you.
Mm.
So I ended up having 2, 3 instructional tenures, and then I realized that the classes that I was taking, I really enjoyed taking those classes. My students loved the classes, so I started
Mm.
realizing that this is the place I am meant to be. Somehow
Yeah.
I could find ways to put the ideas or the education or the training into the brains of people in an easy manner as compared to
Mm.
probably others. So they started liking my way, and seeing their reaction, I started liking the complete experience of teaching. So once I completed around 23 years in army, I decided that I should now look for a second vocation in life. So I took a VRS from army and started Colonel's Carrier Launcher, CCL. Now it so happened I love. I'm very curious by nature. I'm inquisitive.
Mm.
I want to know about things. I'm a student actually. So as a student, I keep on trying to find things, keep on learning, and so this quest for knowledge and the experience of teaching in the army in my instructional tenures, these two put together made me whatever good teacher, bad teacher, whatever I am today. And but added to that was my love for kids. I always found the students or kids fascinating. So it could be a small child, or it could be a grown-up like you, a person like you. So when I met you,
Mm.
also we had discussed so many philosophical questions of life. So
Yeah.
so this love for kids, company, and talking to them, and the education together. So I combined them in CCL. So when
Mm.
CCL was born, CCL was born because I love kids and I love teaching. So both of them combined, and that's how things progressed. And I found love from so many parents and students.
I think it's it's coincidental that you mentioned that you are a good student, and I know that personally as well because of the talks that we've had previously. But they say that a good teacher is ultimately a good student of life, and that's the way that the theory progresses, or a good teacher becomes someone.
I think.
So I wanted to know that what lessons or what experiences did you have at these prestigious institutes that many of the students in India want to just get a glimpse of, and you stayed at them for your training periods like NDA or the IMA. So these are some institutes that people just aspire. Okay, maybe I should just get, maybe if I get one day or maybe a week in these institutes, that would change my life. And you spent a year in the IMA and then 3 years in the NDA. So what were the lessons that you learned there that help you become a good student and then ultimately a better teacher or an instructor?
Okay, so I feel that NDA transformed me. Before
Okay.
NDA, I transform almost everybody. Some people get transformed too much, and some people don't get transformed too much, but they have some certain changes. When I went to NDA, I was a soft clay. I was not hardened. So my transformation somehow was quite visible. So I think about myself before ND and after ND. After ND, I was a changed person. I had
Hmm.
become this. I had this fire in me that I can achieve anything that I want. So once it so happened, I'll just give you example. We were training in Rajasthan in the area of Pokhran, and
Yeah.
our two of our artillery guns got lost,
Hmm.
and we were not able to find them. In those days, there were no mobile phone or anything, and we did not have GPS and all things there. So desert is it's so difficult to find things, and I had this feeling in me, whatever I can do. So Colonel Narula sir, and now he's retired as a general.
Okay.
He was the boss of our entire artillery, and he was my CO that time, commanding officer. He called me. He said, "Pravinder, दो गन गुम गई हैं. जब गाड़ी ले जा, ढूंढ के लेके ही आना." I said, "लेके आऊंगा." You'll
Acha.
not believe it took me 8 hours, but once we came back, the two guns were with me. So
Wow.
NDA gave me this thing that whatever you set want to achieve, you can achieve, and this
Hmm.
helped me a lot while I was building CCL. Building up any business or any enterprise is challenging. A lot of people give up. So let's say that the success rate of entrepreneurs is around 5%. So I think I am one of those 5% people, and this has been possible because of my training in ND and IMA. Because you are taught that you can't give up. Giving up is not an option, and this is what I keep telling my students: that be a fighter. I don't say be a winner. They never say be a winner, because you can never be a winner. Once you win something, then you go to the next level. Be a fighter by nature, by attitude. Fight. I will
Hmm.
get it. I'll do it. Karunga. So this is what I learned from ND and IMA.
But as you mentioned, like those are the transformative. It's like it's an experience. NDA is an experience, and you went through that physically, mentally, and all of that. All the things that happened, and you had those experiences that transformed you. But how would you say that it did help you understand? Did it help you understand the mindset from an instructor's point of view as well? Like, okay, I am training these guys to become tough, or I
Yeah.
am helping these toughen up. So did it give you that perspective as well?
Yeah, it gave me, and I just want to add another point to that. After IMA, after commissioning, very soon after commissioning, around after 1.5 years, I was very fortunate. I got my posting to Siachen Glacier as a young lieutenant.
Yeah.
And Siachen Glacier, I stayed for a long time, 2.5 years. I was there, 30 months.
Wow.
Siachen is a tough place, and there you need that kind of thing. There you go from one place to another, you get stuck in snow. People have died en route because they were left out in the open for night, one night. You die there in one night. And then I
Wow.
went to participate in Kargil operations there also. So time and again, that thing came to me that giving up is not an option. That option is not there that I will leave. You have to keep on fighting.
Hmm.
And since I tell my students, all my students, I can't put them under physical pressure or mental pressure or some any
Yeah.
kind of physical stress like we were put in NDA. But I try to give them my stories, and they find it inspiring. So then I tell them, boss, if I can do it, you can do it. So be a fighter. So many of my students, initially they'll say, sir, ये मेरे को नहीं होता, मेरे से maths नहीं होता, or whatever, English I can't speak well. So I said, it will come to you. Just keep on fighting. Finally, you will overcome this hurdle. So that was definitely there to understand how to make my student understand this concept of not giving up, of being a fighter.
I think a point that also stands out for me is like you had at NDA or also like while serving in the armed forces, you've always had people working for you, and the motto of this army is like you are working for the soldiers and the soldiers are working for the nation and everything. So
Yeah,
there's no like hierarchical thing that like they have in corporates or something. I don't know, but that's something that strikes out for you as well. I think you treat your students as well as the part of your camaraderie or the part of your mission group or something, and they get that inspirational dose. We have this leader with us, and we are part of this team that has the ultimate motive to, let's say, complete this mission of getting good grades or becoming better at what you were at whatever skill you're trying to pursue.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. That is how it works. When I was in CHN, it was so easy for people to go away from there. You just say, "I'm feeling breathless," and you will be moved out of the operations. You'll go
Okay.
back. You'll come back to the peace station. You'll come back to Chandigarh or wherever. You just have to say that I'm feeling breathless. Okay. You are your own. You take the judgment. No, if you tell a doctor that I'm not feeling well, no doctor can keep you there. No officer can keep you there. So in
Yeah.
places like this, when people have an option to turn back and leave, it has to be your personal example. You have to lead by personal example that boss, I am doing it, and then they will feel obliged to do it. यार साहब कर रहे हैं तो हम भी करेंगे, because they always have that feeling that officer is supposed to do less, but if he is doing more, come on. So same thing happens with my students. I give respect to each and every student of mine. He may be a sixth grader, but I give him total respect as a person, and I think that is what clicks between us. When it so happens that kids are not getting any respect from anywhere. Mother is saying something, father is saying you're useless, you're watching TV whole day, you're not studied, you again started eating this and all that. So when they come to me, they probably expect that this person is also kind of downgrade us or pull us down. But when they find the respect that I give them, then they start changing. Yes, I do get angry sometimes. Like yesterday, I was having my class 6. We are having a match of maths का match करते हैं हम लोग. So some of the students were always trying to say, "Mere number." So I said, "You put me off. I don't want to do it." Then they started saying, "Sorry, sir, let's do it. I will not." So my way is not kind of bullshit them or be harsh with them. I just feel it comes on my face, and and I say it also. Yeah, mood crap. So they immediately they say, "Okay, sorry, sir, we will not do it." So it is a mutual respect kind of a thing. Like you said, my students are my team, and I keep saying, "यार, मेरी बेइज्जती मत करा देना. Exam है कल, मेरी बेइज्जती मत कराना." This is what I tell them, and some part of it works. Some part of it works.
Yeah. I think that's very different from the modern education as I see around myself. And obviously, I am a student still doing my undergrad, but that's very different. Students are not used to that respect, and I think especially with the younger kids, the teenagers or something, so they're not very much, because they're not getting any, they're not to hell with respect, they're not even getting attention, a lot of positive attention. So that's why they're so much derived of it, and they're thinking that, okay, if someone is respecting them, so that's a kind of a weird thing, and they then tend to maybe respect you more, and then to figure out, okay, why I should look up to this person and listen to what he's actually saying or what is he meaning. And also like this brings me to another thing that I was thinking about. Like we had this in the previous Indian culture, and it fascinates me a lot that what kind of history we had as Indians. So they had this Gurukul educational routine, and kids were sent off at a very early age. They trained at these Gurukuls. They learned different subjects. They learned different cultures and everything. So do you think that was certainly that was a model of education that was followed, and some believe that it was the best, some believe that the current model is better? What's your take on it? What's your personal belief system that are kids meant to be educated or instructed in a manner that holistically develops them, or is the modern culture education model like, is it better? Like, is it serving the purpose of education and let them live their lives as well? So what's your take on it?
Okay, so it so happens that it's only in humans that the offspring or the kids, they take so much time to learn and become independent. If you see a calf of the cow, it takes birth, and after a few hours, it is moving around. So human kids have to be taught. And the reason for that is human body, when the humans started walking on two legs, human body became so designed that humans could not produce the kids in a full developed stage. So
Mm.
as a result, our kids are born not very developed. They take time to develop, and they need a nurturing, both physically and mentally and psychologically. So initially, mother is the one who looks after that, and
Yeah.
slowly, father gets into the picture. Is father more so in case of boys? Father gets into the way and start telling him toughen up and do this and take responsibility, things like that. So, and then comes the teacher, because after some time, father also taught whatever he knew. He taught
Yeah.
now, and he's got other things to do. So now teacher steps in, and teacher starts telling the child and preparing the child for the future life that the child will lead. In the Gurukul system, it was beautiful, it was great, but there were some limitations in my opinion. Firstly, there
Mm.
was only one person that you could learn, though it is said that you can have as many teachers as you want, but that system probably promoted only one teacher or maybe two teachers. Another thing was that girls probably were not finding that much of admission in the Gurukuls.
Mm.
It was
Yeah.
more male specific. So half of our population was, if not half, some yeah, we have the examples like Gargi, the great scholar of the ancient times, but there are not too many women like that. So I find the one thing lacking was that, and secondly, the social skills. The social skills that students were getting into the Gurukul was only limited to the peer group that they had, their classmates and all, and the guru. Rest of the society was outside. So when that person, after we read in Ramayana, that the Ram and Lakshman, after their education in the ashram, came to the Ayodhya, and then he was declared the heir to the throne and things like that. So when the child has come from there, probably society that time was not so complex. Today the
Mm.
society is very complex. So the social
Makes
skill
sense.
is
Yeah.
difficult in Gurukul. Now come to the present education system. See, humans have always believed in efficiency, and that's how we come here. So, if you can, if you let's say if you have a machine which can only kind of peel vegetables, not cut it, so you'll have a
Mm.
very good peeler. We have a very good knife. We have a chopper and things like that. So we have increased our efficiency slowly, and we are now very efficient people.
Yeah.
What is the basis of efficiency? Basis of efficiency is doing the same job repeatedly by one person doing that. So when we designed our education system, we said we have so many people, so many students are to be taught. There are lakhs and crores of students. It is difficult to find an individual approach. Yes, a millionaire probably can do it. That he will have three teachers, four teachers for a student. One will teach mathematics, one will teach English, one will teach this arts and all things like that. And before that, he will have some kind of career counseling. So that's why I decided to get into career counseling, because it is very important for a person to know what is my strength today,
Mm.
and
Hmm.
what is the skill set that I have, what is the aspirations I have. So skill set, aspirations, combine them, and then combine with what is available in the future marketplace of
Yeah.
jobs. And find a good fit. These three things: your aspirations, your skill set, and the marketplace. Put them together, you will have a optimum solution for your life. So that millionaire can do that also, and then he will find teachers. My son is good in this kind of a thing. So he'll find. But it is not possible for everyone. So we created schools. We
Mm.
created a model syllabus for everybody. So everybody across the country is studying that thing, and we are trying to now streamline it more and more and more. Okay. Now with the new
Mm.
education policy, certain changes have come. I'll come to that. So the modern system is what is the word for it? It's a factory. Modern system is a factory. A child gets in, and some processing is done on him, and then he passes out. Then he goes to a college. So the modern system, I'm not getting the right word for it. It's not factory. You can say it's a processing unit or something. People
Mm.
enter and people come out. Now
Mm.
there are the advantages of that. A large section of society is getting educated because of this modern system.
Right.
But where I feel we are going wrong, and now that is evident in the way students show their what do you call? They show their eagerness or willingness to learn, or to
Mm.
follow the syllabus, or to do well in the exams. Uh, Not many students want to learn. They're not finding it worthwhile to learn. They're not finding it exciting enough to learn.
Mm.
So, and as a result of that, that is taking a toll on the teacher also. So students are
Yeah.
not listening. Teacher is trying to tell. student, she'll tell, come on, wake up and look at me and don't talk and all that. But he will get irritated. Then teacher will get irritated. They will get irritated more. So there's a vicious cycle. There is a vicious cycle. There are 5%, 10% students who think that studies are good and they find interest in the studies and they end up becoming the toppers and all that. But we need to make little bit of changes. Some changes need to be made, and that's why people like me fit in. So I'll just give you an example. The other day I was teaching unification of Italy to 10th class student. Okay. Incidentally, I teach all subjects. I teach maths, I teach English, physics, chemistry, biology, civics, geography, everything. And each of my class children love, whatever it is. So I was teaching the unification of Italy. Unification of Italy happened in 1852. It started, 54 it started. But I started my story, my class, with the Roman Empire, which was 500 BC. I got them to 500 BC. I told them 100 AD, Roman Empire had established, and then it split into two. One became Byzantine Empire, one became the Western Roman civilization, which fell in 453, and this continued till 1450 something. And then I got them to the present age. Now, what happened is when I took them back, so there's something in history, something in stories that clicks to us human beings. We find that mystique, it connects immediately. So once I took them to Roman Empire and they got hooked there, then slowly I got them here. It took me just 5 minutes or 6 minutes to get this history. Now, but by now they were okay. They were in a state to absorb knowledge. What is happening today is student sits in the class. He's not in a state to absorb knowledge. Teacher will come, tell he wants to talk to his friend. He's not bothered what teacher is trying to say. So if teachers can start doing this, take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, talk to them. Hi guys, or kya chal raha hai? What happened to you? Yesterday you were saying something. You see, all good teachers do it. Immediately the entire class will come to the teacher. Then he'll crack a joke or say something or something. Now people are with him. And now he takes on the class. So this is what the technique I use. And I find it very simple. The student get, in my class especially, they come prepared. And then I get them to a little bit of this thing. Okay, pull somebody's legs like this or make joke with somebody. Then they are together. I say, okay, chalo, ab shuru kar. So they're in a frame of mind to learn. So these small changes in the modern system required, and that's why probably people like me will come in.
That's so fascinating. I think the way you look at teaching or instructing these students that you have, that's a very different approach from the teachers that I see around myself, and I think it's unique, and that's why probably you're having the kind of response with CCL that you're having. But it's called the Colonel's Career Launcher, and what does it strike out like? What was the essential purpose while starting this career launcher? Like what came to you that why should I name it this, and also what purpose am I trying to serve?
Okay, so when CCL was started, even now, there are 4 legs on which CCL stands. The first is the tutorials part, which is the building block of the students. Right from class 1st to class 12th, we have the classes, and I have taken on myself the responsibility from class 6 to 10th, because this is the middle part. If this middle, let's say I get a student which is weaker, he comes to me, I have to make him stronger by the time he leaves 10th. So 6 to 10th is the time, the responsibility that I have taken on myself. Otherwise, there are others to teachers. Even I am assisted by assistant teachers, but primarily I take the responsibility from 6 to 10. Because I feel this is the section which I have to strengthen. Okay. If this section is strengthened by 10th, if the student has become strong, interested in studies, and starts liking studies, he will then sail through. Then it is difficult to stop him. So this is one. Second is I am certified trainer from British Council UK on IELTS, which is the benchmark for going to foreign countries. This is English language. So, and I am fascinated by English language myself. English is my first language. I think in English. So that is spoken English, and personality development is the second vertical of CCL. Third is I have decided that there are a lot of people who are jobless in this country, and the reason they are jobless is because they have been taught, educated in the schools, but they don't know how to crack the competitive exams. So my focus is on third is the job, preparing people for bank, PO, clerks, railways, army, navy, air force, but Jawans.
Yeah.
I'm focusing basically on Jawan, or Jawans for that is for soldiers for Army, Navy, and Air Force.
Yeah.
And the most important part of CCL, I think, is the career counseling part. Like I
Mm.
said, if you tell it, if you see a child, sit with him, analyze him, and find a fit, and speak to him. What does he want in life? He may say, "Well, मेरे को तो Mukesh Ambani बनना है." Then you have to tell him, "Boss, इतनी जल्दी नहीं. You may become, but
Mm.
first target something which is reachable, which is achievable." So
Mm.
sit with him, find a career fit for him. Tell him this, these are the options. Biomedicine में तेरे पास ये है, फार्मेसी में तेरे पास ये है भाई. जरूरी नहीं कि सबको इंजीनियर ही बनना है, सबको डॉक्टर ही
Exactly.
बनना है.
Mm.
Okay, एक साइकोलॉजी के अंदर ये options है. So sit with him. I think that is the most exciting part of CCL, which gives in a small time changes the direction of a person's life.
That's right. Now, I wanted you to tell my listeners also that very interesting story that we talked about your childhood, when that a teacher had a great influence on your childhood. I want you to share that story with us.
Yeah. So I'll share that podcast with my teacher also. So
Yeah.
what happened is this: I was in class 8 and I was a naughty child. I was, I would say I was not a good child in the sense that I was not interested in studies. Though I was good in studies, but I was not interested in studies.
Yeah.
And and this was class 8, and the midterm exam was going on.
Mm.
We had this history paper going on, and I still remember that there was a question on Rani Jhansi,
Okay.
Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi, and that question, and I had made some purchase before the previous night, and I had taken those purchases with me, so I was cheating in the exam.
Mm.
And that question had come, and I had kept that parchi ki tarah abhi karunga isko. So in those days we had flying squad in the school. So we had a few tough teachers, the gang of tough teacher, 2-3 of them will come, and like we had Narendra ji, Bhatia ji. These are the guys who will slap you before they ask your name. In those days, slapping was a very the common thing by teachers. In fact,
my God.
और मुक्का मारना भी होता था, but slapping तो भाटिया जी का टेरर होता था. तो भाटिया जी आए क्लास में, हाँ भाई, कोई चीटिंग तो नहीं कर रहा. सब मेरे मुंह से निकल गया कि सर इतना आसान पेपर कोई चीटिंग करेगा. तो भाटिया से साले तेरे जैसी करते आता हूँ. He came to me and he put his hand in the desk that I was using.
Yeah.
See, my blood left my body completely because there were those purchases inside that.
Yeah.
He put his hand, and then his hand came, and I thought, there was no other fear in my mind other than कि पिटाई बहुत. उन्हें ना लाउड से पिटाई. My father was one, गुरुजी जितना मारना मारो इसको, लेकिन इसकी लाइफ सुधारनी है.
हाँ जी.
So मेरे को लगा यार आज बहुत पिटाई होने वाली है. But luckily he took out his hand and said, okay, ध्यान से पढ़ाई करो, फालतू बकवास मत क्या करो. And he went. And I was surprised. I said, यार ये तो पर्ची रखी थी अंदर, वो पर्ची नहीं आई सर के हाथ में. And then probably it could have happened कि वो खड़े हुए थे तो उनका हाथ पूरा अंदर नहीं गया या कुछ हुआ. मैंने हाथ डाला तो पर्ची अंदर कोने में पड़ी हुई थी. And then I went to bathroom and threw over that पर्ची. Now I was scared and shivering with fever. And fever of that fear.
Yeah.
So and then story should have ended here. Should have ended here. I could have found courage, and the next exam probably I should have been more careful in cheating. But story didn't end here. What happened is I had a friend of mine who was a student of Bhatia ji. Bhatia ji used to give tuitions to students. Okay. But he only took selected people. He didn't take anybody. He used to take selected 10, 12 people, and he would train them. So my friend told him Bhatia ji अच्छे teacher है. I said I needed tuition that time. So I went to Bhatia ji with my friend. And Bhatia ji said, अच्छा तुम ही थे उस दिन बोल रहे थे उस दिन. चलो. And then once I joined him, I found him very influencing on my personality, my thoughts. He will tell us stories of IIT Roorkee, IIT this, and his the people he had known. And he was always trying to inspire us.
Yeah.
And he turned my life. Like because of his inspiration from him, I remained a student till 10th. And because of his inspiration, my life changed and my direction changed. And then I went to NDA. But I feel that the direction that he gave to my life was crucial in my life, whatever success I have today. And that incident of cheating probably was a divine intervention. अगर वो उस दिन मेरी पर्ची पकड़ लेते, मारते तो थे, मार तो पढ़नी थी. He wouldn't have accepted me in his classes, and that wouldn't have changed. I would have remained a useless kind of mediocre kind of guy like that. So I
Right.
think that's why from Bhattacharya, what I learned is what I am doing today. In part, there is inspiration from him. If that person can change my life, maybe I can change
Hmm.
some lives by that, taking people in a positive direction and showing them
Wow.
this is achievable. You can do that. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a very remarkable story, and I wonder that does Bhatia ji know that there were chits inside that desk now? Does he know about
Now he will
this?
know. I'll send him the link of this podcast, and now he will know.
Bhatia ji must now, he might have a bit of scolding for you a bit late, but
Scolding him. I'm very sure he will slap me. He'll say, "This is the due. This is the due which I had to deliver to you today. I delivered it."
that's a very interesting story, I think, and I find it funny every time. Like we talked about it previously, also it was very remarkable. I am also very curious about your views on the past couple of years. Now it's almost been like 1.5 year, I think, at least. The COVID situation has changed lives quite literally. So what do you think does the education world hold the post COVID? Will there be a post COVID end node? No, because people are like trying where now this is like the new normal. So I don't know. But how do you think that the educational model, since you are in this field, so what are some changes, some big changes that you see would be happening in the approach also that people have towards education? Like I think like people are now more intrusive of online courses and everything, but how do you think it has impacted the mindset and also like the model in which education is done?
Okay, so the loss has been tremendous. The students have been put through so much of mental torture. See, the classes themselves were not very kind of were not very entertaining enough for students. Students used to find the classes boring earlier also. I would not say exactly boring, but yes, this was not too interesting. मैम ने
Yeah.
आया पढ़ा दिया आके पढ़ा दिया. Now, the online classes have brought a lot of mental torture on kids. Firstly,
Mm.
not everybody can make an online class interesting. It takes effort. It takes a lot of energy to make an online class interesting. I do classes. I remember. I know after my classes, I'm so tired. I get totally
Mm.
drained,
Exhausted. Yeah.
exhausted. And before that, you have to prepare things like that. So making class interesting is a tough task. So I don't blame teachers. Now the students were earlier only they were not interested in the classes.
Mm.
Now they're
Mm.
put through their class. In that, the teacher is saying, "Okay, kids, listen. This is important chapter. Last time also I told you, and you guys are not sending your homework." And this. By the time teacher has covered 5 minutes of class, the student either half asleep or he's watching something else on the another window. Now the
Yeah.
students found this. Initially, they found a very क्या है मेरा नहीं मन कर रहा class लेने का. Then they found
Mm.
somebody watching YouTube, somebody that, and you. The best way to find out whether somebody is listening in the class or not, if a teacher asks a question and tells the student's name, okay, Ripudaman, you tell me, and the Ripudaman says, sorry, ma'am, what was the question? Be sure that Ripudaman was watching something else on some other window. Okay,
Yeah.
so students have been put through a lot of inconvenience, a lot of torture, and learning has not really been there. There
Mm.
have been dilution of standards by some schools, whereas they are giving marks. They are giving marks. They know okay, if we fail people, then there'll be all kind of fingers pointed on us only. The parents will ask us only why the student has failed, why you are not taught. So there is a dilution of standards.
Yeah.
And overall, this has been a tremendous loss for the nation and the students. Post COVID, what will happen? What I foresee, the scenario that emerges is after 2 3 years, I think the normal life will be back on the track, and new normal will become the old normal, will become the new normal. I think the mask and everything will go on 2 3 years maybe,
Okay.
but something will emerge from this. Firstly, now online education or skill building will be much better.
Mm.
Then people will attend the classes, they will attend schools, and then they'll have the online classes, and that will add to their what do you call skills or their learning. So acceptance of online will be more, and
Yeah.
as a result, if there is genuine teaching being done, the students will benefit over that time and expenditure of transport going to the classes, the coaching classes, coming back, that will reduce. But there's a key here. The teachers will have to be very very careful and sensitive as to whether the student is receiving what he's sending or not. That needs skill. You have to find out. You should know which student is keeping quiet, which student not spoken in the last 10 minutes, which is not required. So you have to be more skillful as a teacher to cover everybody in your class so that nobody is left behind.
Right.
That's what the scenario should be, in my opinion.
I think, yeah, and only time will tell what happens. But obviously, this has been a massive, massive change. And I, being a student, have seen the student side of it. And I think it's very true. Like, the interest factor has gone down a lot, apart from the physical classrooms. But one thing that really fascinates me a lot, and I, obviously, you being a person who served in the armed forces, and anyone who's like highly disciplined in their lives, that's a certain quality or an attribute that I look up to a lot, and people having a good conduct of their lives. So that's why I sometimes, I don't know if you're aware of it, but I like the Stoics a lot, the Stoicism culture, and I respect them a lot. Now, in the context of today's world, the students you deal with and the students and people around us in general, everyone has internet access, and everyone has many things that are very instantly gratifying in nature, right? So there's low effort and high reward kind of things. They're present in a vast majority, like in a width and depth sort of manner as well. Now, as a teacher, as an instructor, and also as a person who has conducted his life through pillars of what armed forces are all about: perseverance, discipline, and talking your walk, like, and walking your talk, I'm sorry, and doing things that you actually are meant out to do. So how do you deal with the students who are not having these skills as a natural mindset or something? They're not as disciplined, they're not ready to persevere through the hard times to get the results. So do you think this is a major roadblock that you face, and how do we move forward, or how do we inculcate these values in people around us or in the students that you deal with?
Okay. I think this is a really insightful question, and it should be asked more often by more people. I remember watching long back, though I have not seen the movie. Gone with the Wind is a movie. Somewhere, I don't know, many years back, I saw the opening scene, and there was a board on which it was written, "Time is the stuff life is made of." Time is the stuff life is made of. So money can be earned, but time will not come back. Everybody knows it. And time is what we have limited. Every day we have just 24 hours. We may have many years, but in a day we have only 24 hours. And that 24 hours, you have to achieve your dreams. You have to become an achiever, make your life, talk to your family, have your social relationships, and do whatever you want to do. Train yourself, read, watch movies, do so many things to be done if you have only have 24 hours. Now, the issue with what is happening today is people are not sensitive with the time that they're spending. I've seen many people, they'll open a newspaper, they spend 1 hour with the newspaper, especially the senior people. They're sitting in front of a news channel, and they're just watching news. 3 hours have passed, nothing. You see the young adults, mobile, they're watching something on the mobile. Many apps are there. They don't realize time kahan chala gaya. So I'll give my personal example. It, like, my son gave me one of the movies. It was a documentary on Trump election. So I watched that, but it took me 3 weekends to watch that. So what will happen is I'll watch 15 minutes of it, and then I'll be like, "Arey yaar, something important needs to be done." So I'll leave that. As a result of that, my connection with the devices and the screen is become absolute minimal. It is only now limited to my students. What are my student message send me? If somebody got stuck with a question, I'll make a solution, send it to him. Something like that. Earlier, I used to open our WhatsApp group of my NDA postmates and 1, 2, 3 very important postmates. Now that has also gone down, because the reason for that is I have found a purpose in life. I think that around a few months back, this famous author, what is his name? The guy who's written all these series of Sita and Amish Tripathi. Amish Tripathi had given an interview to one of the newspapers, and one thing he said has stayed with me. He said, "Not happiness, but purpose will get you through life. Not happiness, but purpose will get you through life." In your life, I think if you find a purpose, your life is set. Now you're okay. Happiness actually is very fickle. It will come and it will go. And some people
Right.
find happiness in watching a movie, a web series, or something. Some people will find in something. So I think purpose is much more profound thing. So
Hmm.
if a student, a person, anybody thinks that this is the purpose of my life, I should follow this, then little bit of entertainment can come. 80-20 principle is what I believe in. 80% of your time should be spent in building up your purpose of life and training for that. And 20% time can be given to your entertainment. In sometimes, in my case, even sometimes I don't give that 20% also. But
Hmm.
then I'm happy in following the purpose. CCL is my dream, and I want to
Yeah.
touch the life of as many students as possible in a very, very positive manner. So let's say if I watch one hour of movie, in that I will speak to 3 or 4 students, discuss their aspirations with them, guide them with their career counseling. At least 4 lives I have touched in that 1 hour, as
Right.
versus that movie I would have watched or web series I would have watched. So this is how I look at it. If it's difficult for people, apps are designed to keep you hooked into the app, whatever app today, Facebook or whatever it is, Instagram. They try to keep you hooked in, and they're brilliant minds working on that. Brilliant mind are working to keep you hooked, glued to your screen. It takes a lot of guidance, a lot of willpower and techniques how to do that. So one technique I
Hmm.
can suggest is keep your phone on silent. Many times,
Right.
like I got a call from you, I couldn't attend it, but I saw the phone and called you back. So this is one suggestion I'll give people. Try to keep your phone on silent. Whenever, if there is an emergency, somebody has gone out of the house and you're expecting a call, then you can put it on. Otherwise, those notations and continuous ringing and all those things will keep you totally flooded, and you will not have time for worthwhile things.
I think that's very profound advice, and I try to inculcate it in my life. Obviously, I also deal deal with me spending a lot of time on mindlessly going through my life, and sometimes when I do realize it over a period of time that okay, so maybe the past few weeks have gone by and I haven't really done something that I wanted to do, or the time has just flown by, and at that time you tend to realize, or you tend to think about this stuff, and you tend to wonder maybe what am I doing right or wrong. But yeah, that's some really good advice, that if you are aware of this whole cycle that you might get yourself into, and if you're aware of the whole process, then the chances of you being mindful about it are more. I think that's what I like
Yeah.
about your approach. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, sir, and I'm sure that I leave this conversation a wiser person than I started, and it was great just talking to. I'm sure CCL is doing its purpose. It is fulfilling it, and it will keep doing it. We'll have you again. We'll talk about a lot of more philosophies of life. But thank you so much for giving your time.
Thank you so much, Ripudaman. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And this brings us to the end of this really awesome episode of the Most Serious Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it did add some value in your life. We will be back again with another interesting conversation pretty soon.